To get better results from your content creation, you need to create better content. And this is more important than ever because so many content creators are publishing more and more content every single day. And if you're not improving the quality of your content, you're being left behind. But how do you take your content creation to a whole new level? In this video, I'll share my top 7 strategies for how you can have a breakthrough in the quality of your content creation to make it easier for you to attract your ideal clients. These are the strategies that I personally use, and they're the ones I share with my clients. A breakthrough or breakout level of performance is when you go from your usual level, like a 3 out of 10, to a 7 out of 10. We often say someone is an overnight success when they have a breakthrough like this, when they go from here to here. But the reality is very different. Boiling water in a kettle is a great example of how breakthrough results occur. You start by adding cold water to the kettle, then you put the lid on and turn up the heat. For a minute or so, nothing seems to be happening. Then suddenly the water starts to rumble and a few puffs of steam start to come out, and then all of a sudden the kettle starts singing. To create breakthrough results in your content creation, here are 7 strategies you can follow. The first way for you to create breakthrough in your content creation is to talk about the elephant in the room. This is the one thing you cannot avoid if you want to create breakthrough results in any area of your life or your business. You need to do the work. There are no shortcuts to success. If you're not willing to do the work, then you might as well pack up your dreams right now and click away from this video and go and spend your time doing something else. If you are willing to do the hard work that it takes to be successful, then stick around and I'll show you some specific things that you can do today. If you want an inspiring read around this, read Stephen Pressfield's book, Do the Work. You can read it in a couple of hours. I'm a big fan of doing my work in projects. Projects are great for 2 reasons. First, they focus your attention. And 2, they're a great way to have a clear burst of energy because they have a clear end date. You can have a 1-day project, a 1-week project, a 4-week project, or a 90-day project. To have your content creation breakthrough, you first have to decide what you want to have a breakthrough in. And that will depend on where you are in your content creation journey. The top 3 content creation projects are production. When you're just starting out with your content creation, the number one thing you need to focus on is getting it done. You need to build habits, systems, and practices for you to be consistent in creating and publishing content. Number 2 is skills. When you're consistently able to produce content, then you want to look at how can you improve the quality of your content. This might include things like how to write better, how to do SEO, how to speak to the camera better, how to be funny. And number 3 is leverage. When you're consistently creating good quality content, then you can start to look at how you can leverage the value of that content. Here you might turn your videos into a podcast, you might create some partnerships, or you might start to look for revenue streams from your content creation. I often wonder how the great explorers did it. Someone like Christopher Columbus is a great example. His only plan was to head west. Basically, it was like, we're going that way, we'll see what we run into. He was hoping to find the Orient or Asia, but instead he ran into the Americas. Missed it by that much. If you want to improve the quality of your content creation, don't just sail off in any direction. Instead, get a map or a framework to follow. It will speed up your journey and minimize your mistakes. That's why I created the Content Creation Canvas. I created it because I needed it. I needed a map to follow. I needed to know, do this, then do that, then do that. You need to find your framework to follow, and our next strategy might help you with that as well. Have you heard of Joseph Campbell's hero's journey? Campbell was a writer and a professor of literature, and he studied religion and mythology. And one of the things he found was a common story through a lot of the world's cultures, and it was the story of the hero. An ordinary person living an ordinary life is faced by a challenge and called to a new adventure. And along the way, the hero meets a guide, someone who helps the hero face their challenge and overcome it. To take your content creation to another level, you need a guide as well. You need someone who can point to different ways to take action so you can get different and better results. This might be an individual coach, it might be joining into a course or a program, or it might be to follow someone's map or framework as we mentioned in the previous strategy. Who is your guide to better content creation? In the video on content creation process, we spoke about the 3 mistakes people make. Most content creators spend all their time, energy and attention on churning out and creating content, but they fail to have a proper completion process when they've completed their content. This means that one piece of content blurs into the next. Even worse, they don't learn from the content they've just created. You want to avoid the mistakes you just made, and you want to repeat the things that worked really well. That's how you improve. A simple practice to overcome this is to review your work. And you want to do this in a particular way. You want to avoid being your harshest critics. There is nothing to be gained from beating yourself up over the tiny little mistakes you've made along the way. Instead, you want to learn from them. And the goal is not to be like your mum. You don't want to blindly love everything you do either. The best way to review your work is as a neutral spectator. Remember, the goal of your review is to make better content next time. And my tip is to make sure you write down what you learn from each session so you've got a catalogue of things you can do to improve and things to avoid doing in the future. What's the most important thing you can do to maintain your motivation and inspiration? Is it A, follow your purpose? Is it B, start with why? Is it C, have an accountability buddy? Or is it D, measure your progress? And the winner is D, make progress. I'm currently in Sydney. It's a 1,000 kilometre or about 600 mile drive from my home to here. It takes about 10 hours of driving. And I love it because there's something really wonderful about sitting there, pointing the car towards where I'm going, watching the scenery as I drive, and tick off the miles as I go down the highway. To measure your progress, there are 2 essential things you need to focus on. Number 1 is your actions you take, and number 2 is the results you create. The more important of these 2 is the actions you take, because you can't always control the results you produce, but you can control the amount of time, effort and energy you put into your work.
When people ask me, say, how do you make it in show business or whatever? And what I always tell them, I've said it many years, and nobody ever takes note of it because it's not the answer they wanted to hear. What they want to hear is, here's how you get an agent, here's how you write a script, here's how you do this, But I always say, be so good they can't ignore you. And I just think that if somebody's thinking, how can I be really good? People are going to come to you.
I've taken Steve Martin's advice to heart. If I can be so good they can't ignore me, then I know I'll be successful with my YouTube videos. And this is why I don't spend a lot of time promoting my videos on Facebook and in other places, because that time could be better spent on improving the quality of my videos. Here are 5 steps you can take to follow Steve Martin's advice and build your skills. Number 1 is to make a list of the content creation skills that you could improve. And then once you have your list, you can pick one of them to work on. Number 3 is to create a mini project around improving it. Number 4 is to actually do the work to get better at it. And number 5 is to rinse and repeat. Pick another one. Today I've shared my 7 best strategies for you to have a content creation breakthrough. To get better content creation results, you need to create better content. Now for the big question. What are you going to do to improve the quality of your content creation? Add a comment below and let me know. And in our next video, we'll look at the 4 steps you must take if you want to become a thought leader. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!